After sponges, the next phylum to evolve was a group called Cnidaria. They also primarily live in the ocean and include sea anemones, jellyfish, corals, and a microscopic group called Hydra. Hydra live in freshwater, and you can think of them as tiny sea anemones. All cnidarians are just variations of the sea anemone body plan.
This flower-like creature is an anemone, one of an ancient group of animals called cnidarians. How could such simple creatures have given rise to life's diverse ballet? Early naturalists wondered, were they plants, animals, or something in between? Hundreds of millions of years ago, before animals swam the ocean's waters or scurried along the seafloor, only one group of animals existed. They were sponges. Then creatures far more complex sprang into being and changed the world forever. These were the first cnidarians. They may not look like pioneers, but cnidarians marked a turning point for animal behavior. These creatures were the first to wield sensitive tentacles that could actually reach out and perceive the world. More than 500 million years ago, cnidarians invented other features we take for granted today. Here was an animal with a mouth. And connected to that mouth, a stomach to digest food. It was a brilliant innovation that would spread throughout the animal kingdom.
Wait a second, you say. Coral doesn't look like a sea anemone, and it doesn't even look like an animal. Well, like sponges, what we normally see at the beach or sold in stores is the skeleton. If you zoom in on a live coral, you will see very tiny animals called polyps, which look like hydras or sea anemones. The only difference is that they live inside a calcium carbonate skeleton that they have built. These skeletons grow on top of one another to form reefs, which become habitats for many other marine organisms to live among. Another key difference is that the coral polyps have photosynthetic protists called zooxanthellae that live inside their cells. You can see them in orange inside the polyp photo. They provide energy for the coral in a symbiotic relationship. Reefs are incredibly important ecosystems. The productivity or energy created by photosynthesis by coral is almost as high as tropical rainforests and wetlands. Without sugars, life would not exist. The skeletons protect baby fish, crustaceans, snails, clams, sea stars, sea urchins, sponges, and teems with life. They occupy less than 0.1% of the ocean, yet support 25% of all marine species. They provide food for 500 million people, protect coastlines from storms and erosion, provide jobs for local communities, and offer opportunities for snorkeling. A large number of medicines are discovered in reef organisms every year, including treatments for cancer, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, and infectious diseases. A recent estimate by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration suggested that the annual global value of coral reefs is $375 billion. Unfortunately, reefs are rapidly deteriorating because of us. Zooxanthellae can be killed by erosion, pollution, or heat stress. Between 2014 and 2017, 75% of the world's coral reefs experience heat stress associated with climate change. If the zooxanthellae abandon the polyp they live in, the polyp dies and the coral skeletons left behind become white. This phenomenon is known as coral bleaching. Once the polyps die, all the organisms that use the reef as a home leave too, because there is no home for the plankton and larger life forms. We will talk more about reefs at the end, but let's get back to cnidaria. Okay, you see how coral polyps are like sea anemones, but what about jellyfish? Think of jellyfish as an upside-down swimming sea anemone. As it turns out, jellyfish have a polyp stage where they look very similar to sea anemones, but they are sometimes colonial. We don't see them often because they are tiny, often just a millimeter in length. The polyps go through asexual budding to produce the Medusa stage, which is what we call jellyfish.
With a body plan that would endure the ages, they entered watery realms across the planet. Today, these ocean drifters are prolific, and they come in a stunning variety of shapes and sizes. Trailing their deadly tentacles, jellyfish slowly trawl for prey. Scientists know that jellyfish thrive in the upper ocean. Apparently, the remarkable creatures that dominate the upper waters are also abundant in the deeper reaches. Deeper, a Colobonema, a jellyfish with a surprising defense. When startled, it detaches its tentacles, leaving them behind as decoys to distract would-be attackers. This jellyfish has never been seen before, never classified, never given a name. Its size, 3 feet in diameter, makes it larger than most other jellyfish in the world.
So, what do all these forms have in common? Animals in the phylum Cnidaria all go through a polyp stage. Unlike sponges, they have radial symmetry and 2 germ layers, ectoderm and endoderm, but no mesoderm, and no body cavity, the coelom. They have true tissues, including muscle cells, skin or epidermal cells, and nerve cells, but nothing we would call a brain.
These deceptively simple creatures invented movement. The very first animal movements may have looked much like these subtle stirrings. With 2 sets of muscles, cnidarians can bend in any direction. To control their muscles, they rely on another cnidarian invention, special cells called nerves. Through a set of these nerves, electrical impulses trigger one set of muscles to contract, pushing the animal higher. By contracting the other set of muscles, the animal can flex itself into the perfect pose for snagging food. It looks so simple, but all creatures that crawl, soar, or swim today rely on muscle and nerve, their ancient inheritance from cnidarians. Anchored to a rock on the ocean floor, a solitary cnidarian called Stomphia. It looks vulnerable, but looks can be deceiving. Stomphia would seem to make an easy meal for any determined predator. Today, it's being stalked by a stealthy foe, the sea star Dermasterius. Sampling the water with its sensory tentacles, the sea star inches toward its prey. Stomphia remains unaware of the approaching danger. But when Dermasterius comes close enough to touch it, Stomphia springs into action. In a stunning defensive maneuver, Stomphia frees itself from the rock and swims away. This is one of just a few anemones that can actually swim. The tentacles must be touched before the weapons can discharge. And for that, the prey must come to the anemone. The goby is a swift swimmer, with eyes and senses attuned to any sign of danger and a brain able to process complex signals. It seems better equipped for survival. For the goby, one unguarded moment could be fatal. Dragging the fish into its mouth, the anemone devours it with tools invented by its ancient ancestors. The goby will be slowly digested alive.
So they can sense their environment in order to, say, grab food, but there is no central control. A tentacle that touches food simply grabs it and takes it to the mouth. Speaking of which, cnidarians don't have a complete tube running through their body, but a gut with a dead end called a gastrovascular cavity, which means the mouth and the anus are the same. The term cnidaria actually refers to specialized explosive cells that these animals have called cnidocytes. The cnidocytes allow the animal to sting predators and capture prey with tiny harpoons. They work by using osmotic pressure. When a trigger is touched, water rushes into the cell and the harpoon bursts out. This, by the way, is why a sea anemone sticks to you when you touch its tentacles. The harpoons are stuck in you, but the venom is so weak that you don't feel any pain.
These anemones appear to be peacefully coexisting in a tide pool, but trouble is brewing. A struggle over a patch of rock. Splaying their tentacles, the animals detect each other. Now, there's no turning back. Each animal prepares for battle, inflating a series of sacks, special tools for combat. Inside each sack are hundreds of thousands of weapons. But in order to deploy its weapons, each combatant must reach out and strike its enemy. Anemone battles can last for hours, even days. The fighting is brutal and can even lead to death. With each strike, thousands of poisonous weapons are unleashed, penetrating flesh, pumping soft bodies full of toxins. As the arsenal is used up, the weapon sacks are left empty and tattered. Triumphant, one anemone spreads its tentacles as though flaunting its victory. The vanquished retreats within itself and will eventually move away.
Some jellyfish, like the box jellyfish, produce a strong venom that can be deadly. An estimated 150 million people get stung by jellyfish every year, but most cause only minor burns. You may have heard about peeing on a jellyfish sting. Don't do that. If anything, it may flush out some of the barbs, but it shouldn't be used as treatment. Flushing with vinegar does work because the acid deactivates any remaining cells with harpoons. I wanted to end by talking about the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. You can see it from outer space as a turquoise line. It is the world's largest reef system, is 500,000 years old, and is the biggest single structure made by live organisms. It is roughly the size of Italy or Japan. It is teeming with life. 16,025 species of bony fish, 133 species of sharks and rays, and 600 species of corals live there. 90% of the barrier reef has already become bleached. I visited in 2002, and I remember seeing very few animals then. It may be completely gone in the next 10 years. 10 years ago, scientists predicted that 50% of all reefs would be destroyed by 2020. That has come true. 90% are predicted to be gone by 2050. Will we continue to destroy the ocean's biodiversity, or will we find another path?